Now on AM Extra, caught in a web of spies. The Soviet Union built one of the world's largest surveillance states, forcing millions to live under the oppressive rule, never say anything that can be used against you.
Well, that's exactly the mess the protagonist of a new historical novel finds herself in, written by a local author and former arms negotiator. The Communist's Secret is the latest from Suzanne Perry, who helped negotiate the first international security agreement of the Gorbachev era. She's joining us live now to talk about this real-life experience and how it inspires this novel series. Good morning.
Good morning, Travis, Emily. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here.
What a premise here. Dive into what you can reveal about your book.
Yeah, I can tell you a little bit anyway. So it is a World War II story set in Soviet Russia. So the Russian perspective, the Soviet experience of World War II. The main character, as the novel opens, the main character has done exactly what you said, which is she said something that someone can use against her. So she has actually betrayed herself, her family, and there are terrible consequences.
Oh my gosh.
Things start to go from bad to worse, though, very quickly, because then Nazi Germany attacks. It's 1941, the massive attack on the Soviet Union, and Katya volunteers for a corps of people who go out into the field and dig trenches to try to stop the onrushing panzer divisions coming towards them. After just a few weeks, they're overrun, and Katya and a young woman flee on foot, and they are on the run without anywhere to go in Nazi-occupied Russia, looking for safety. And that's the basic premise of the story. Then.
I mean, what a page turner this story is, and of course, you have such a wealth of information to really frame the story around. So tell us a little bit about your experience, your relationship with the Pentagon, and how that has kind of translated to your writing today.
Yeah, so when I was a college student, I was able to spend the last semester in Moscow studying. This was 1979, a very long time ago. It was an amazing experience to be able to interact with local citizens, people who didn't have the freedoms that I have, right?
Sure.
People who couldn't leave their country, who couldn't say what they thought. So it was really a terrific experience that stuck with me my whole life. And then after graduate school, I worked at the Pentagon, and I was in an office in the Office of the Secretary of Defense, which is a big organization that deals with all the policy matters. And we were called European Security Negotiations, but we were really the poor cousins of the arms control business. I'll say that the sexy offices, the nuclear talks, the non-proliferation talks, those were the offices that got attention.
Okay.
But funny enough, our office, an important conference came up, and I had been working on the issues that were going to be negotiated as just a low-level person in the Pentagon, and it became a big deal. And that we negotiated for 2 years with all the European countries, and the basic thing it was trying to do was reduce the risk of war and increase openness, which was what Mikhail Gorbachev himself was trying to do, right? Start down that road towards openness. So in a little way, I feel like we did our little part.
That's so fascinating.
That is unbelievable. So how do you take these very, very real life and intense experiences and say, hey, I want to write a novel and base it off these experiences? What sparked that thought for you?
Well, I think there were several things. A part of it was the time of my life. I had just decided I was going to retire from coaching cross country and track at Lincoln High School.
Shout out Lincoln High School.
Right. Woo, go Cards. But I was in my late 50s, and I thought, well, I can do something else. What do I want to do? And I had always thought I might want to write a book. And that time in Moscow, way back when I was a student, we took a side trip to Leningrad, which was the site of a horrible blockade. The Germans blockaded the city, starved 1 million civilians to death. In fact, my first book, Lost Souls of Leningrad, is about that. And I just going to the cemetery there and seeing all the mass graves for 500,000 unknown people, it had a huge impact on me. So the time came and I thought, I can write about this. And not a lot is written about the Soviet experience in World War II.
Yeah.
So it seemed like a good fit.
Well, and I think
Wow.
it can be really interesting too sometimes to get into a historical fiction novel where you're weaving together all of these pieces of history, but in a way that can almost make it a little easier to digest. You have a character
Yeah.
and that human emotion that you
Right.
can kind of get into and explore that world. Was it a ridiculous amount of work to kind of have to sift back through some of those memories and to put this together today?
Actually, what was a lot of work is doing the research on World War II per se, on the siege of Leningrad, on the in Nazi occupation. I mean, the Nazis occupied a huge part of the Soviet Union in the first couple of years, 3 years or so of the war, and so there was a lot of research involved in that.
bet.
And but I like that. I have a scholarly bent, I think, so I really enjoy that, and it was great. But it was more fun creating the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the characters they live in me, you know, they're
bet.
like almost like old friends.
It's so
you know?
impressive to craft a story, like you said, based off fact, and then to weave in this story of fiction into it. It baffles my mind. Suzanne, congratulations! Excited
Thank
to pick
you.
that one up and read it.
Thank you
Really great.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
great to have you here. And
Yeah.
again, The Communist Secret out now. Suzanne signing books tomorrow at Powell's, by the way, so go check that out. And you can learn more about the signing and the book by checking out this story on coin.com.
There you go, your next good summer read.
Yeah.